Hey everybody, welcome back to this Tamiya MF-01X Ford Escort Mk.II Rally Kit series. Today we're going to start working on the electronics and we're going to be mounting the servo. As you can see, I have the electronics connected, the battery to the ESC, and the ESC inserted into slot 2 of the receiver and the servo into slot 1. And this receiver is already bind to my Tamiya MX-6 transmitter. So I'm going to turn that on, power up the ESC, and the receiver is getting power, so let's test the servo. Okay, everything's working. So now we're going to mount the servo horn onto the servo. You're going to need part P1, P4, and for my situation, P5, and all you have to do is take one of these, either 5 or 6, and slip it onto your servo. If it fits, that's the one. If it's not, then probably the other one. All right, and I do have power still, so I know this is going to be centered. And just make sure everything is 100%. All right. And I also know which screw I need for this particular servo. And the first thing we need to do, make our lives easier, is to actually put on the 2 ball studs. Let's pay attention to the diagram here. So the servo is going to be oriented this way. And we need this piece right here to be directly centered down on the servo. So mine's going to look like that. Then on goes this ring. Like that. Make sure the servo's still working. And now the servo horn. And you can see everything indexes right here. And then we need P1, which is the ring. All right, so when you're done with step 8, it should look like this. As you can see, we're going to be attaching the steering rods onto the servo, and we don't need to keep the servo plugged in anymore. It's already on and it's centered. So let's start building those steering rods. I'm going to use my shock pliers and my rod end wrench to help me with this step. Okay, the rod ends need to be facing the opposite direction, and we need a 17mm gap here between the 2 rod ends. So let me bring out the caliper. Okay, and there we go. As close as it's going to get. Now we need another one. Pretty good. All right, now we're going to snap these on. Okay. All right, next up, we're going to mount the servo onto the holder in this direction. Like that, and we're going to use BA6 screws with these washers right here. Okay, there you go. Just make sure the servo is lined up straight. And when you're done, it should look like that. According to the manual, we need the top of the servo saver here down onto the mount needs to be 24 millimeters. Let's take a look. So I have it right on 24, so I'm done. All right, now we're going to mount the servo onto the front of the chassis here. And the first thing we need to do is to get our screw. I'm using the BA2 for this. Going to thread one through, and then I'm going to put this spacer in there, just like that. And then keep an eye on this slot right here, because this rail on the side of the servo holder needs to go into there. So the servo goes in upside down like this, and again you need to make sure the rail goes into that slot like that. And push it all the way through. And when you think you have it lined up, and make sure while you're doing this, one of the steering rods is threaded through this hole. If not, it's not a big deal. All you have to do is take the steering rod off there, thread it through, and then put it back on. All right. And the last step for today is to mount this plate onto the side of the chassis here. And there's two of them. You have to make sure this is the correct one. This is C14 right now. And it just lines up like that. And there's two screws, and it's going to be those BA6 screws. All right. And when you're done with this step, it should look like this. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for watching this video. If you got anything out of it, please drop a like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys in the next one.